Three Little Sisters Learn to Get Along. My name is Joanne Kavinsky, and I'm the author of this book. And with my friend Renee, who did all of the illustrations, we're going to talk a little bit today about, what motivated us to write this book and be able to come up with it, and then some of the wonderful resources at the end of the book. So, this whole story started because of a picture that you painted for me, and it's specifically this picture right here. You painted this as a present for my birthday.
Yes.
Can you tell people about that?
Well, your three little girls are just precious. I just absolutely love being around them and watching them interact. And they always want me to come and see what they're doing. So one day I drive up and they're playing in this tree outside. And I happen to have my camera with me, and I'm like, oh, this would be amazing to take some pictures of these girls playing in this tree. And I was, thinking in my mind, I would love to paint a picture of this. And it was, the tree was blossoming, and it was just a beautiful spring day, and the girls were just having a blast in the tree. And so I took a couple pictures, and so then later on in the year, you were having a birthday, and I'm like, oh, that would be the perfect present. So I went and I decided, which part of which picture to use, and I created that image for your birthday, and so I gave it to you. And little did I know what it was going to end up becoming.
Right. Well, I remember sitting in my office one day. I was working with some students, and all of a sudden I could hear my kids screaming and yelling in the back room, and I'm picturing this beautiful picture that you just painted. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish my kids were always that sweet, right? And reality is not all kids are. And so all of a sudden this tune started coming into my head. Three little sisters sitting in a tree, Yelling. And I was thinking, I just kept going on with that kind of a theme, and it was funny. And I remember later on finding this poem that I had written and thinking, hey, you know what? I wonder if this would make a good picture book. And I remember your response to that was,
I love it. I when she sent me the text and told me her inspiration started from that painting. When you told me that, I looked at that picture and then I heard the girls yelling, and I just rediscovered this poem that I wrote. What do you think? And I responded, I love it. I love it. And I was ready to go. I was absolutely on board with that idea.
Well, and as time went on, I thought, okay, it's all great and all, that all kids fight, right? But what do we really do about that? And I kind of mentioned that in the book, that, the mother became real sad because her kids aren't, behaving very well. And so I start teaching my kids about these I messages. I feel hurt. That makes me sad. And it really inspired me to write these parent pages. And the parent pages are all about, what do you do when your kids are not behaving? Because it's so easy to just want to ignore them or to yell at them and do those kinds of things, but does any of that work?
I've seen you interact with the kids, and you've always got such a way of handling situations where they're in tears, or they're fighting tooth and nail. And I know you have read a plethora of material about different ways of dealing with those situations. And I remember, I was working on illustrating the book, and I was sending you, glimpses of what I was working on. And all of a sudden you send me this couple of pages, and you're like, what do you think of putting this at the end of the book? And it was these parent pages, and I read it, and I was just like, this is awesome. I love it. I am so proud to be creating a book that these pages will be part of, because it makes it so much more than a picture book. It makes it so much more than just a kid's full picture book. It's a wonderful story in essence of that, it starts off where they're fighting, and it, resolves, and the mom, kind of gets involved. But I love that it's more than just a simple message for the kids. It also gives the parents a tool.
Yeah. Yeah, a tool to be able to help their kids to work through some of those problems, and language to use with them, and language that we can give our children is one of the biggest gifts. Because isn't it one of the biggest gifts to teach our own children to become problem solvers? It's one of the most important gifts I think that we can give our children. So, Three Little Sisters. You can check it out on Amazon. It's available as either an ebook on Kindle, or you can purchase the hard copy for just $9.99.